Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Doing Better show, and a sort of a mashed up Doing Better / Sunday reality check today, because we're rolling with the punches and going with the flow a little bit. We're having a late spring, just kind of like cleaning out of our systems and talking about all the things and working through our stuffs. Come summertime, we got a whole lineup of really awesome guests coming, so please, we'll make sure to make some good announcements about that. Make sure you guys know ahead of time about we have lots of good local minds and people doing interesting stuff, and hopefully really open up some discussions. I really, as I talked about last week and probably every week, really into having smart, thoughtful, critical discussions in which people can expand their understanding of situations, and that we can really work on understanding rather than judging. All that said, we got a fun little show today. Joining me as always, on the best days at least, is Amberly. Hi, Amberly.
Hey, howdy.
Howdy. It's lovely to see you in front of the pile of Doing Better garbage.
Thank you. This beautiful pile is doing better than most.
It is. As far as piles go, that one is doing the best.
Yeah.
Danny will be joining us momentarily too. If you missed earlier, Beth and I did a little news segment, talked about some of the local things going on, the local issues. Oh, here he is, the man himself, making a grand entrance past the Doing Better pile and in to the Doing Better studios here in Lawrence, Massachusetts. If you guys out there would ever like to come join us in the Doing Better studios, we would love to have you. No matter what you got going on, if you got stuff going on, we want to hear about it. And we've been lots of people's first podcast, first internet show, and I think we do a lovely job welcoming people, like our co-host, and making people feel comfortable, and that's really what we're going for. So if you are a little nervous, maybe you want to share about your music or your art or your activism or your company or something you're doing, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do podcasts, come on ours. We promise we'll make it easy.
It's an easy
and
conversation.
Lovely. It is a very
flows, it's silly.
Yes.
All love. Yeah. Love and joy.
No lack of silliness. What's up, DZ? How are you?
Good.
Do you have him on, Des? I don't know if I hear him out of his microphone. Are you turned on and all that fun stuff?
It's turned on.
Check. I don't.
Microphone.
Here, switch that one. This one's definitely good. If you want to switch to that.
This one. I'll just move to that.
Scooch on over. Yes. Moving on over.
I'm glad you didn't put that on camera.
What, your move?
Your
Yeah.
scooch.
How's it going?
Good. Just busy, very busy.
Anything interesting you want to share with us?
I'm in the middle of like 10 different things right now, so
Good.
yeah, it's did a lot of video work. Yesterday I had like 2 events to cover. I had one with the artist. This morning I had a fashion show that I was covering as well too, so I just came back from Roxbury.
Nice. How was that?
It was better than I thought. It was very good. Every time Bogo Split does something, it's always on a whole nother level. Got yelled at by a security guard, and I was just it was funny because it was like a girl. She clearly had something else going on, but like I was like trying to tell her like, look, you telling me that I can't be here anymore isn't gonna really make me leave. Like she's talking about the contract's till 5, so I don't know why there's still people after 5. It's like I don't know why you're telling me that. Like I didn't do no contracts. I didn't do any of that. And then like, I was even talking with the people that I was with, and they were like, if we have an event at 5, how do you expect people to leave at 5 if they set up and did everything?
Right.
Like, and we weren't even there that long. It was like 20 minutes after. But yeah, that's how my day pretty much started.
I find that there's people trying to do things are always held back by people who don't do things, if that makes sense. Like, and that sounds overly judgmental and douchey, and guess what it is. But like, when you're out there trying to make new things happen, especially if you're going in, if you're treading in new territory, right? There's always going to be somebody like, you can't do that. Why are you doing that? And like critics. And it's the easiest thing ever to be a critic because it takes no planning, it takes no cooperation and collaboration with people, it takes no sweat and hard work. It just go, oh, that thing's stupid, or like, you can't do that. There, you shouldn't be there. That's not okay. And I think if you're one of those people, cut it out. Do a thing instead. What do you got, Des?
I was gonna say, I feel like that's why more people are like always super criticize like their opposing party instead of like, oh, here's a solution to this or an alternative to this problem that I have. They're always like, this is bad, don't do this. Instead of actually trying to solve something, they just want to be punty.
There you go. So, adjective's probably not the best, but yeah. We got some motorcycles vroom out in the streets. What? Don't tell me what. I don't know what you said, but I probably don't want to know what you said. Let's keep it there. Okay, so on that note, let's talk. So I brought up last week, and I wanted to share it with you. I am very critical of Donald Trump and the current administration. That said, in the interests of openness and dialogue, I wanted to bring up a speech that he made recently that I agree with pretty much everything he said. Maybe not pretty much. A large portion of what he said. So I want to share that with you guys. Des?
And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionalists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries.
So, before I criticize, I want to say something positive. So, again, Trump calls out the neocons who invaded Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. We've been bombing Yemen, Somalia, Sudan. We could go on and on and on. But this, with the Bush administration, the Cheney foreign policy that Bush had fought for 8 years, Obama pretty much did the identical thing for 8 years. Trump accurately calls it out for hubristic, arrogant meddling. So I think it is. I want to take a moment to give credit for the, most of which has come from the Republican Party. So I want to take a moment to give credit to Trump for calling out the neocons. These people have wasted, at minimum, $8 trillion in the last 25 years, have been responsible for 8,000 U.S. military deaths in combat, and I would say another 30,000 due to suicide. There's probably 1 million people dead in Iraq because of our intervention. There is probably 5 million refugees in the region because of our intervention, etc. And Trump is right to call these people out. He's also right to call out the USAID type NGO intervention that tries to rebuild these places we bombed. So I want to take a moment to recognize him saying something that I believe in 100%. That said, he's saying it to Saudi Arabia, which is, maybe one of the worst human rights abusers in the world. And he's also saying it to a group of American politicians, not politicians, businessmen. So quite a few people were part of this movement. A bunch of big corporations over here, some small investors, a few of whom I follow, were part of this delegation going over to Saudi, and it was all about business deals for the next decade. It was about Saudi investing here. And us being normalizing relations with them, et cetera, et cetera. So I think had he made this speech in Palestine while saying we're not going to fund Israel anymore.
That's literally where my head immediately went. I'm like, he's saying all of this, but what's happening in Palestine? What's happening in Gaza? And it's honestly reflective of the campaign he ran on. Like, he ran for the working people, and look at this big, beautiful bill.
So
You know?
yeah, so like if I believed in him, and I believe politicians said things that were connected to what they are actually going to do, then I would be much more supportive. I would be sort of cheerleading for this speech. I don't, again, while you're currently funding some of the worst human rights atrocities that we've ever seen, and continuing to send billions and billions of dollars to other governments for exactly the kind of stuff that you're talking about, like, I don't really buy it. Des, what do you think?
Okay, so here's my thing. I just think this is like Trump's super special skill to it's a universal presidential skill of knowing what to say, but he is perfect at it, in which the way he knows exactly what to say to please the exact amount right of people, because he knows his audience, and also he knows what to say to the people who don't like him, like you, and to have them long enough to tolerate him. For like, he knows, like you said, he said some good things there, but then he's gonna go right behind your back and fuck you right at the ass.
So I would say, along with what you're saying, not so eloquently, he sort of distances himself visually from Netanyahu in the last week or two. He negotiated, or had Steve Witkoff negotiate that prisoner release without talking to Netanyahu, and like did these things that look as if he's saying, no, Israel, we're not going to be your bitch anymore. But again, it doesn't matter if you're still giving them money, right?
Yeah.
Like you're still their bitch. So I think the good thing about this, and sort of relating to what you said, Des, is the fact that he knows this is a message that people want to listen to and want to hear. And I think more than ever, we're certainly not there, but I think more than ever, people are starting to question this America should run around the world blowing up things that are bad narrative. And I think that's
so great. But who was the one that released that, like, Trump Gaza video?
which about him, like, basically saying we're taking over Gaza. Yeah.
Who released that video?
Oh yeah.
No, I'm asking.
That's those guys. Yeah, that's their team.
They released that,
And it went over like a fucking lead balloon, right? Like everyone was mad about that. A lot of his supporters who said, like, this is not what we.
but then
what
it's
we're here
like,
for.
so he's just a con artist. It's like, that's what he really wants.
Well, like he's
But
a businessman.
I
He's a
just feel
businessman.
like if anyone were to actually fall for that speech, and I mean, like, people fell for his whole platform.
You gotta give him benefit. Like, you gotta give him credit.
No.
He's
We don't have to give
pretty-
anyone credit. We don't have to give anyone the
was gonna
benefit of the
say,
doubt.
I
We
feel
don't
like
do.
he's
That's not
just-
what we do here.
He's a businessman. He knows what to say to get what he wants.
I don't know if I believe that one. I think he's an actor. That's what I would say.
You saying he's a puppet?
I mean,
yes,
he literally was in the Sex and the City movie.
He's in a lot of movies. In
Home Alone
Home
2.
Alone 2, exactly. So
Home Alone 2. He had his own show. You're fired.
The Apprentice, right? So to me, that's what I see. I see an actor trying to say the right lines that will continue the power structure. Because I think if you look at a lot of what that administration is pushing, it's not what they campaigned on. Now, let's be clear. Trump is not nearly as special as you think he is. Every fucking politician in my lifetime campaigns on a whole bunch of stuff and then pretty much abandons everything the day they come in, right? Obama campaigned on ending wars, ending Guantanamo, ending illegal the NSA illegally spying on you, cracking down on the banks, and he literally did the opposite of all those things for his entire presidency. So I don't think Trump is special in this way, but Trump is not special in the other way either. He's not. I just don't buy the, like, he's a businessman who doesn't care about what's going on, etc. Like he cares. So let's move on from that. I got one other thing that I wanted that was in the news this week, and usually I would like to focus on things that are not like the big shiny story, but this one's too good. I'm sorry. So this is Kristi Noem, our your favorite person.
So, Secretary Noem, what is habeas corpus? Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right to.
Let me stop.
So Maggie Hassan is actually our senator in New Hampshire, who I don't love. But this is a great question, and she exposes Kristi Noem, because habeas corpus is the I think I looked up a definition to share with you guys when we got to this, or maybe no, I got distracted by looking up goat-eyes.
They are satanic if you look at them. That's why the government is okay with performing tests on goats, because you can separate yourself. You can't separate yourself from a dog.
So, habeas corpus is a legal principle that protects individuals from unlawful detention. It requires law enforcement to justify a prisoner's continued confinement before a judge. The writ of habeas corpus is a legal order directing the person to be produced before a court to determine the legality of the detention. What does that mean? It means that the government cannot just arrest you and whisk you away somewhere. Any arrest has to be justified by a judge. You have to go in front of a judge and say, this is why this person is under arrest. Now, again, Trump is not that special. Guantanamo Bay and then the definition of terrorism basically suspended people's habeas corpus rights in a very similar way. What we did in the name of fighting terrorism, we're now currently doing in the name of fighting immigration. And we're going to come back again to that a little bit more. But the other thing that I find is really troubling about this, I'll put her stupid face back on here, is, just give me this for a second, like, this is the most qualified person. This is the best person we have for these jobs.
No, and we don't want to judge people based off their looks. Absolutely.
No, I'm not.
A beautiful woman can do things.
Oh, I sorry. That was not what I meant.
could
But
do
did you just hear what she said?
I did, and I keep trying in my head. I'm like, I go back and forth with this because I'm like, of course, I feel like there are a few women that kind of look like her, where they're like conventionally pretty in his cabinet that are like spokespeople, and I'm like, of course they had to be women, first of all, because we love to scapegoat women and say that they can't, because we put the unqualified women in those positions to make sure that people still have that image of like, oh, women can't hold these big roles,
That's an interesting point.
It's
annoying.
But then I just hate her. So it's like, I like the feminism, and like I really try. I try to,
But again, I think we can do better than a game show host for a president too.
That as well.
So like it's in the same.
It's all a plan.
It's in the same vein. So I just had to point that out. I think we're gonna skip that one. So let's talk for a minute about the big news of the week, which is the big beautiful bill. And I want to talk about this for a couple of reasons. I want to talk about it because the very concept of doing legislation like this, of putting the entire year's budget and plan and everything we're going to do into one giant bill, and you, as a senator or as a member of the House, you either have to vote yes for everything or no for everything. I think that's a fucking moronic way of legislating. If you have 30 different issues, you should have 30 different bills so that everyone can vote for them, yay or nay, and be held responsible for their votes. And this, again, I think is done on purpose. I think they put 3,000 things in one bill so that if your constituents say, hey, Senator Bob, why the hell did you vote for X, Y, and Z that I don't believe in? You go, well, I had to because it was part of the bill. And if I didn't vote for that, then we wouldn't have got supplies to our troops. We wouldn't have been able to take care of the elderly people on Medicare and blah, blah, blah. There's always these built-in excuses by having these omnibus, these giant bills with 1,000 things in them. Along the lines of 1,000 things in them, do you know how many pages this bill is? 1,116. That's more than the total pages that you guys read in high school for all your English literature.
I was literally just going to say, I think that's like 1,000 pages is the A Court of Thorns and Roses. I don't know if you've heard of that series.
I have not.
It's romantic fantasy. Yeah,
Steamy.
It's great. It's great. Shout out Sarah J. Maas. She has one book that's like over 1,000 pages, and that took me like a couple weeks to read. I would never get through that.
Okay.
I'd never get
I was
through
gonna say,
that.
it's like-
This
there you go.
is not-
And you're a fairly intelligent human being, right? I wouldn't say that our representatives in House and in Congress are more intelligent than you. Are they going to spend a couple of weeks reading this bill? No, none of them are going to fucking read it. That's what's going to happen. None of them are going to fucking read it.
I don't even want to read
You know
it.
what they could do? Just like get like AI and just have that they review that shit.
I mean, yeah,
Chat?
That's probably the best thing. That's probably the best thing we got going for us. Is ChatGPT. Tell me what's in this fucking bill I have to vote on.
Can we break it down, please?
So,
Explain it like we're talking to a 5-year-old.
yeah. So I want to point out one very important thing here is that the criticism to this bill is not a partisan issue, and I think it's really important that we, again, I've said this 1,000 times, I'll say it 1,000 times more, that we move past left and right. So Thomas Massie is a Republican from Kentucky. Depending on what your politics are, a lot of people call him on the far, far right. What he doesn't do is vote for things because his party tells him to. So Thomas Massie was one of the few people to vote against the CARES Act that spent $1 bajillion on COVID-related things and gave huge giveaways to big pharmaceutical companies and other big companies, Walmart and Amazon and such. And Thomas Massie this is the second or third time in the 2 Trump presidencies when Trump is saying, oh, I'm going to primary you, we're getting rid of you, Thomas Massie, you're nothing but a grandstander. So here's Thomas Massie's response to this big, beautiful bill. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I think he makes a really good he lays out the conservative argument against this very well. And for those of you on the left who hate conservatives, you need to listen to Thomas Massie. You need to listen to what he says, because this is what I think so often we find the worst examples of the opposite view. So if you hate Republicans, you're like, look at fucking Mitch McConnell. And yeah, Mitch McConnell blows. Or, again, we can go down the whole list. The Dick Cheneys and the George Bushes and the most of the big ones. I challenge you to go and look at better spoken people who have different views on the role of government in life, but are probably a little harder to straw man. So here's Thomas Massie.
Well, I'd love to stand here and tell the American people, we can cut your taxes and we can increase spending and everything's going to be just fine. But I can't do that because I'm here to deliver a dose of reality. This bill dramatically increases deficits in the near term, but promises our government will be fiscally responsible 5 years from now. Where have we heard that before? How do you bind a future Congress to these promises? This bill is a debt bomb ticking. Mr. Speaker, we're not rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic tonight. We're putting coal in the boiler and setting a course for the iceberg. If something is beautiful, you don't do it after midnight. I oppose this bill.
Gentleman's time has expired.
So I just wanted to point that out. So
That was good.
the point that he's making is a conservative argument against this bill, which is every time there's a Democrat in the White House, Republicans say we need to cut spending. This is irresponsible. We have to worry about the debt. Look at the debt, the debt, and they're right to say that. But then the moment they get into power, this happened with Reagan, it happened with first Bush, it happened with second Bush, and it happened with Trump in 2016. They all of a sudden are not so fiscally conservative anymore, and they really don't mind spending the taxpayers' money. And so the predictions I've seen from this bill is something like adding $3 to $5 trillion to the deficit in the next 10 years. That's a huge amount of money. Right now, I think we're at $38 trillion. We spend over $1 trillion right now paying the interest only on the national debt. So that's like making your minimum credit card payments. That's what we're doing right now. We're making minimum credit card payments. And what that means in the bond market, so the way that the long term the government can fund itself is by selling these bonds. And the bonds are, the value of the bonds, the price of the bonds goes up if you think they're risky, and it goes down if the government is very solid. So if you know for a fact the government is going to pay back your money in 10 years or 30 years or whatever, you'll buy these bonds for cheap because you're like, it's the government. If I give them $1,000 now and they say they're going to give me $1,100 in 10 years, that's a good deal. I'm going to do it. And you do that every day. If you think the government there's a chance they're not going to pay back your bond, you want more money. It's higher risk. You want a higher interest on that. And the problem right now is when this bill passes, which it's going to pass, it's going to be really tricky to restructure our debt. We have trillions and trillions of dollars of debt, and people don't have faith in the U.S. government anymore. They don't have faith in the dollar. And what that means is the amount of interest the American people, the taxpayers, are going to be paying is going to be in the trillions. So our whole government, we spend about $1 trillion on healthcare related stuff. Social Security, I think, is around a similar number. It's good. We're going to be up to $1 trillion in defense spending, and then $1 trillion on top of that, just paying the minimum on our credit card bills. It's really, really scary. And it means that us as taxpayers, when you pay your taxes, most of that money is just going into the pockets of rich people, the people who own this debt. It's a really scary place for us to be in. And I just think it's principled people on the right, like Thomas Massey, know damn well this bill is a nightmare. And it's, again, 1,100 pages. Des, do you want to add something?
I was going to say it's $37 trillion.
Yeah, it's the national debt. So this...
trillions and trillions of dollars.
So here's the thing that's kind of scary. So we were told... again, coming from a conservative perspective, because when it comes to federal spending, I'm very fiscally conservative. We were told that we were going to get Elon Musk and Doge were going to come in. They were going to cut all this unnecessary spending, and they were going to shrink government. That we're going to be spending less on government. And that has factually not happened. And so much of these things, these abuses and wasted money that Elon Musk and Doge found, they're putting right back into this bill. So we're not cutting that spending. Steve Bannon, who is often an enemy of the left, said something really intelligent a few months ago. I think it was before Trump got in there. And he said, you'll know if Doge is serious if they go across the Potomac, if they go across to the Pentagon. If they cut the Pentagon budget, you go, okay, this is a real thing. It actually matters. Guess what they didn't do? They didn't touch the Pentagon. In fact, they want the Pentagon budget to go from $800 billion to over $1 trillion. The most wasteful budget of all the budgets is the Pentagon. They haven't, I think it's 7 in a row audits that they failed. The day before 9/11, Donald Rumsfeld came out and said they lost $2 trillion. So these massively failing audits, massively, like times over and over and over again. And we're going to give them $962 billion. So Des, if you'll give me my screen right here, this is a little bit scary. Because right now, we're not supposed to be in any real wars, right? Like, we're not currently in a state of war. We have nobody attacking us, right? And look at these, this is the spending here. Look at where we're spending our money. We're spending in the Pentagon an additional $113 billion. DHS is the Department of Homeland Security. Kristi Noem's little area. They're getting an extra $42 billion. That's up to $107 billion. $107,000 million. That's yes, exactly. That's ridiculous. Again, the VA, that's the veterans benefits that we're going to keep having. We're going to keep militarizing everything. Guess what we're going to have to pay for? Look at where the cuts are happening. Health and Human Services, education, housing and urban development, agriculture, etc. Now, don't get me wrong. I bet there's a lot of waste in those things, and I'm not saying that there shouldn't be cuts there. Maybe there should be cuts. Maybe we can find waste there. But the most wasteful department in the entire government is getting a $113 billion extra dollars. That's wild. And I
feel like you shouldn't even have to mention the other, there possibly being waste in those areas. It just, I don't know. It's a mute point to me. It's like when women are like, oh, all men. Like, obviously not all men.
Right.
Just like not all women. Not all of these, I don't know, these government, funded programs to help people live more equitably. You don't have to. There's probably people wasting. Sure, there's probably wasteful benefits there, but at the same time, like you said, the Pentagon. Why don't we?
Yeah.
that would just-
And to be clear, when I say there's probably money wasted, I don't mean that there's people abusing these programs. I think when you actually look at the abuse of these programs, it tends to be a teeny. Of course, there's abuse of any system's got people that exploit it, but the actual abuse is like 1, 2, 3%. It's always tiny numbers. I meant like just programs that the government programs that don't work aren't effective. I bet there's quite a few of things in there you could say, okay, we can cut this program to do X, Y, and Z didn't actually work. It had a goal, it didn't meet it. Let's cut that funding. But again, this doesn't look like the budget of a government that cares about building a country. This doesn't look like building to me.
They want to militarize, like you said.
Exactly.
They just want to make people more intimidated. They want to cut the human resource, what am I fucking saying? The social.
Yeah, social programs. Yeah.
My brain just like went blur. But yeah. No, they don't want to help the people. They want to.
Yeah.
Scare the people.
And again, for conservatives who think these are things that the government should be doing anyway, fair enough. Again, that might be an argument there. But if nothing else, your budget tells about your priorities, and these priorities don't make me feel real safe. They just don't. It looks like we're preparing for war, and again, looks like we're preparing to militarize against the American people. $107 billion on Homeland Security.
No, right? Yeah.
It's a lot of fucking money policing Americans effectively. That's a lot. That's an agency that didn't exist 25 years ago. Gets $107 billion. It's
I saw this
lot of
TikTok
money.
that was like, we should start talking like conservative, or not all, no conservatives, but like how conservatives are like, well, back in my day, we didn't have that. Like, back in my day, we didn't have Homeland Security. Homeland Security's younger than me. I don't think we need that.
No, it's true, right? No. Then DEA and you do a whole list. Yeah. What's up, Des?
The Homeland Security was a result of 9/11, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, that was all.
So,
yes.
I love that. So is that also like an excuse for them to get more money? Another lovely government thing for the Patriot Act, and now a new thing for government to get more money?
Yeah.
Sick.
That's what I would say. So, one other thing that I think it's important to hold the Trump administration accountable for was they made a lot of promises about accountability and transparency. And we've talked a lot about the JFK files, and we talked a ton in our first season about Jeffrey Epstein and the wide range and wide-reaching consequences of his sex trafficking and the potential blackmail operation that's been going on. Tons of stuff has come out about that. Recently, two fairly high-ranking members of the Trump administration, who both were very vocal prior to being part of the Trump administration about Epstein didn't kill himself, among other things, have both come out and been like, no, nothing to see here. So I want to share about that real quick. This was Sean Ryan on Tucker Carlson. Sean Ryan's an ex-CIA guy, actually. So I thought
this was gonna loop back to Diddy for a second.
No, I want to. We're gonna hold off on Diddy for now until we know a little bit more about him, about that stuff. Go ahead.
No matter who gets elected, the Epstein videos remain secret.
Wait, what are you talking about? I thought we could all sleep well at night now knowing that Epstein legitimately killed himself, right?
What was that?
Didn't that just come out?
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide.
You know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself.
You weren't convinced by that?
No.
Why?
I've dug into that, and it's just so...
So I just want to go back real quick. This is Kash Patel, whose entire can you give me that? The entire time prior to getting in this role was talking about accountability and corruption. And again, we got to get to the bottom of the Epstein stuff. And that was his whole spiel. He was going to come in and just totally revolutionize the FBI, get all of the corruption out. And now he's just that like dead-eyed stare of like, no, he did not. He did kill himself.
Know the satanic rituals that happen. I want to know what's going on that scares these people to their core once they're in. Once people get in, they are scared shitless of something. And I'm like, it can't be a human. It has to be something like, I don't know.
And then you see the people that
energy.
don't do that, they end up like going to God. A lot of people like
Right.
they're just like they drop a bunch of stuff and they're like,
Right.
yeah, like nah, like God is real because they seen the
Yeah.
devil.
So I think, I mean, so the Epstein stuff and the Diddy stuff as well, with the cameras in all the rooms and everything, makes it. I think there's a pretty good argument that there's a very large and very successful blackmail ring out there that they do, and you know the all the porn sites.
Can people stop doing fucking weird shit?
Or can we just?
The problem is they program people to do weird shit. That's the real conversation. That's the real conversation.
I've heard that before.
And the baby oil, the Diddy baby oil had ecstasy in it, and it has like things that
That's
you know
why people
that's
were talking about the
crazy.
baby oil. Oh my fucking god! Wait, but how can so it like seeps through your skin then?
yeah. I mean, yeah.
That's strong shit.
That's why you got to be careful with like
I,
your cosmetics, because anything you put on your skin ends up
man.
in your bloodstream.
I had a conversation with your wife, actually somewhat kind of related to that. She was like, she was slightly defending.
He never refers to her as his mom.
So she was kind of what he said. People are programmed to be weird, and she was saying something like that about how they kind of fucked up R. Kelly, which kind of resulted in him doing what he did. Which I feel like
No, I think R. Kelly liked to pee on.
that's fair.
I think here's my
People
R.
like-
Kelly theory. My thing is R. Kelly is the perfect example of multiple intelligences. That like you can be really smart in one area and really dumb in another. And I think R. Kelly's a musical genius. Like the stuff he's come up with is genius. But if you listen to his actual lyrics or hear him talk, he's
He
like a
sounds
third
little-
grader.
Yeah, I
like
was just gonna say. But honestly, okay, so a huge thing that this is like a psychological type of whatever. When someone is abused at a younger age, they stop progressing, or they like kind of revert to that age throughout their entire life. So like when you hear adults baby talk, it's sad.
It's yeah,
And
that's
like,
very true. Or
not
dissociate.
to say that he's like baby talking, but like when he talks, yeah, he sounds like a fucking child. Like he sounds like a baby.
Yeah. So my theory again on why some of these people are they have dirt on them. I think the other thing is like these agencies. I've heard a few people say this. That like when you first day as president, the CIA brings you in and they show you the real Kennedy video, the real Kennedy assassination. It's like, oh, here's us killing Kennedy. Watch your fucking lip. This is like I don't know if it's true. It's just a theory that.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
all the theories are true. I think all the conspiracy theories are true.
This
I'm
one
not.
time,
I'm like,
yeah.
no,
That'd be crazy
no.
to
It's not a. It's not a theory. What did you say?
You
They
thought you
do?
were running the country?
So yeah, so like if when a new president comes in, they like bring him in. They're like, all right, here's the real Kennedy video. Like
That's
here's the like, don't fuck with us. We kept this under wraps for 60 years. You're gonna die.
Who's doing that though? Like, who is the head of the person? Like, who is controlling that?
I feel like it's just all programming because it's been going on for so long. I just feel like at a certain point they just start building successors and grooming and then just making like themselves into other people. It's not
very
one
Hunger
person.
Game.
It's a whole system.
And I don't
It's
think
like a
that,
lineage, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't think there's
So
a
I have
head.
like some energy.
So it's
like,
the whole tree. It's not a bad apple.
Yeah, I don't think you need like one head of the Illuminati like directing all the evil things. I don't think it requires that. It just it requires these people travel in circles together. Billionaires and CIA agents and media moguls like all golf at the same places and go on yachts together and whatever.
It's
And
scary.
like
They're
it-
scary people.
Right. If you're the head of Verizon, you don't need to be in a conspiracy with the head of Boeing and the head of the CIA and whatever to know what those people generally want and what moves the interests of the ruling class forward. You know damn well, right? Like you don't need to be told all the rules. You know generally like we control information, we control currency, we control markets, and like that's how we're gonna do business. That's how we stay in power. And I, as the head of, Verizon, am not gonna do anything to fuck over the head of Boeing. If I have, as the Verizon guy, have evidence that the head of Boeing doesn't care about the planes and is killing people and whatever, like that's not my problem. Those people are not my people. The head of Boeing is my people. That's the guy I'm playing golf with next week. Oh, I saw his wife at at the fancy restaurant the other day. We ran into each other at the Bentley dealership.
I just can't believe that people like lack that much consciousness. Like they're not. I feel like you can't be present.
Yeah,
like that.
but I think that it selects for. I think it select like places of power select for psychopaths.
Question, or not question. I personally think that people want to reject the things that they see, which is why I kind of think like people who reject conspiracy theories, they want to stay that like ignorant.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want to be awakened to like and conscious of what's happening. I feel like that's kind of a.
Well, I think you do everything. So I don't know if you've seen videos of like pro-Palestinian protesters talking like Jerry Seinfeld, like confronting Jerry Seinfeld and like other people like that. But like Jerry Seinfeld's like, haha, I don't care. Like has this, and I think you have to, like psychologically, you have to be like, I'm not looking over there, and I think that's what these people. And again, if you are always on yachts and in fancy restaurants and in Bentley dealerships, you don't have to worry that, you know, that transaction, that merger you just approved, just cost 12,000 people their jobs, and it's going to pollute some river in India, and like whatever. I'm not in India at that river. Like I don't live in Detroit where those 12,000 jobs are cut, etc. Right? Like those aren't my people. But I think we're all a little bit insulated from that. Like I think we make, we buy our phones. And we know the batteries are like,
from China workshops.
Mined by children and cobalt miners in the Congo, etc. Like, so I think we all do things that are morally less than
just
great.
Not in the same like. Doesn't have as big as consequences as what we do.
Well, then, and I think that on the way up, on the ladder to success, there's multiple times in which you have a moral dilemma, right? There's times in which like, do you want to screw over that coworker who's always been good to you so that you get the promotion instead of him? Do you want to, kiss this guy's ass just to get ahead? Kiss your boss's ass to get the next one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think people that continually make those is like, I don't give a shit about that guy. I don't care if we're going to poison that river, et cetera. Those people keep moving up. And people who go like, yeah, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not faking that paperwork. That's wrong. No, I'm not screwing over Bob. He's been good to me the whole time I've been working here, etc. Those people don't move up. They don't become president. Like, you're not going to be president, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, that's also no,
right? Like,
no, that's what I'm saying. That like Donald Trump's a businessman. Like that's that's his mindset. It's him to get over people. Over on top of people and always try to.
Sure, but that I think that saying that that's just business or like that's just capitalism lets people off the hook.
Yeah.
I think people, just because you run a business, you don't get to say, oh well, capitalism. Sorry, I ran over your mom with my trash truck. Like, no, if you run over someone's mom with your trash truck, you're a piece of shit, regardless of what.
No, I'm not saying that he's not a piece of shit. I'm saying that's just that. I feel like that's just the way that he thinks, which is why he continues to do all this stuff that makes it like.
Do you and your girlfriend argue a lot?
What?
Do you and your girlfriend argue a lot?
No.
No. Not yet. He's only had this girlfriend for like a week and a half, so.
I just feel like a lot of it is programming, because like even like business is neutral. The real difference with it is like you were talking about people that kind of don't give a fuck about shit.
Yeah.
That's just the people that like they cheat. They do like shortcuts. Like you don't have to undercut people. Like if you work a little bit harder, you work on yourself, you could get to where you want to be. It's just the people find themselves in situations where it's so much easier to do the other option.
Right.
And I just feel like
what do you mean by programming when you say that's programming?
Just everything that we see. Like if you're just like, even when you're driving, let's say past McDonald's, you see like 3 of them, 4 of them. Anytime you're hungry, that's already something that's on the back of your mind. When you're listening to music, you ever have a song just stuck in your head? It's just stuck in your head. You're just hearing it. You just want to sing it. You're literally acting it. You're being like we don't even notice.
Like it's like a subtle thing.
Like it's a subtle thing. So like music is very powerful. I see that a lot with that. One thing that I've recently done, because I've noticed that I listen to a lot more audiobooks. So then I just think of the same concept. I'm gonna hear these things in the background if I'm just listening to this. Like
No, I mean I think that's a good point. And
we're responsible for our own programming. That's the thing. So that's what makes them.
That's kind of where I'm at in life, because I'm like. Always back to the spiritual awakenings. But seriously, if you like really come down to your own consciousness and like take control of what you're looking at, what you're receiving, it's like the deprogramming is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
But I think the thing one is to recognize that you're being programmed, right? Like you're the all of consumer culture is dependent on them affecting the way you think about the world and yourself.
Yeah.
This sounds so stupid, but I noticed that I was falling into the system and like the programming at one point because I stopped being main character. I was like taking a side character, like I was taking a side character, and I realized it when I was in Kodo. I was working and eating some sushi, and suddenly I saw like main character moments happening everywhere, and I was just the side character in the corner eating my sushi, writing my notes, and I was like, whoa, this cycle, this programming, because I was doing the same fucking thing, day in, day out, it was driving me insane.
Yeah. I be seeing it even like when I'm at work. I'm on LinkedIn running my business, doing things for my business on the side. I'll literally be sitting with coworkers for 6 hours or just be there. You're literally just absorbing whatever's
Right.
on your screen, whatever, just wasting your time doing that. And then people are bored, or people are they feel sick, they're this, they're that. I'm like, bro, like you've just freaking radiated the fuck out of your eyes for 6 hours. That's something that doesn't even get talked about. Like, bro, this is a fucking screen in our face. This is living radiation.
I had to get blue light glasses.
Yeah.
But the doom scroll, just from a psychological standpoint, is
It hurts my head.
thing. Because like you can do it for, again, hours at a time. And I don't think I've ever done this for more than a couple minutes and got done with it and been happy. Like usually you get done, you're like fucking something, right? Like I'm mad at something, or I'm like anxious about something, or like it's never a positive experience after. You don't like, you'd be better off cleaning your toilet. Like you really like go clean your toilet.
Sometimes I'll just find myself sweeping just because I don't want to be on my phone.
Yeah.
It's just satisfying, not this.
Yeah, I have to go plug my phone in the other room in order to get stuff done. Like I literally cannot look at my phone if I have things to do.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, letting everyone know, I'm not looking at my phone at all.
Nice.
Yeah, just putting that out there.
That's awesome.
Don't try to contact me.
There you go. If Amberly's not hitting you back, you know why.
Exactly.
All right. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about on here, this is the last piece of news thing. We got war with Iran has been sort of lurking for years and years and years. Trump wants his own nuclear bill with them. He says the Obama deal is a terrible, terrible deal, worst deal ever. I will have a great, great deal, the best deal anyone has ever seen. So
question.
Yes.
Is it Iran or Iraq that's in BRICS?
Iran is in BRICS.
Oh, so
I think.
Because I'm saying if they're in BRICS, then we're fucked, right? If you think about that, we're kind of fucked.
Iran joined the BRICS group, an organization of 11 countries, in January 2024.
So, if in theory we go to war with them, that's
potential world war.
Yeah.
No, it's now how loyal those other countries are to Iran. I don't know.
Why? What is Iran doing? Because I feel like
Iran has been one of these boogeymen for America for forever.
You're saying to America? You're saying?
Yeah. So
if it's only to America, then Brazil, Russia,
of course.
There's other 10 countries shouldn't fucking care.
Yeah. So back in the Bush administration, Bush said the axis of evil was Iraq, North Korea, and Iran.
That's also because he wanted to go bomb those countries.
Well, right. And they still want to go bomb these countries.
Yeah. That's
so.
What I'm saying, just so we can go into a world war, and then all these rich people get richer.
So the Iran one is a little. So right now it's about their nuclear enrichment. So Iran wants nuclear power because nuclear power is probably the cleanest, most energetic power source that we have.
Well, yeah, because you can't uranium power Boston for a week or whatever.
Yeah. So and the Trump and others have said basically and. Certainly anyone on the Israel side of things says like Iran could never have a nuclear weapon. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to get a nuclear weapon. Bibi Netanyahu has been saying this for 20 years. Oh, they're trying to get a nuclear weapon. They're trying to get a nuclear weapon. They're 5 years away. They're 3 years away. They're so close to a nuclear weapon. There's no evidence that that's what they're trying to do. And I don't understand why Iran's not allowed to have a nuclear weapon. I'm not saying it's good.
I feel like they should have every right to.
Nuclear weapons are terrible. I don't want anyone having a nuclear weapon. But if I was Iran, I would want it like I
Yeah,
want a
if
nuclear
my- if
weapon.
my-
like wouldn't you like that? Like North Korea has a nuclear weapon and they spill a bunch of shit to us and we saber rattle with them a little bit, but eventually they're cool. Like they're safe because they have nukes. So if I was Iran, I'd be like, yo, I want a fucking nuke too. I just the all the pro going to war with Iran, a lot of the anti-immigrant talk. There's a lot of this same early 2000s Islamophobia coming back. Like, oh, the Muslims are this, the Muslims are doing that, and the Muslims blah blah blah. And
That's literally what I was thinking. It's just Islamophobia.
Right.
It's just that they don't want a brown person to have a nuclear weapon.
it certainly seems, and this idea that, like, again, the Muslims are gonna, Sharia law is gonna take over and da-da. And I'm not a Muslim. I don't believe in any religious people having any control in government. I don't support Iran and the Ayatollah. I'm not on their team. But I am on the team of not starting another war. That's my team for now and forever. Anyone who's been talking politics with me for many years will remember that I was vocally opposed to the Iraq War before it happened, and all the people that I argued with prior to the Iraq War about it being a good idea were all fucking wrong, and I was right. So the same is going to be true here if we end up going to war with Iran. It's going to be a disaster. The thing that I'm worried about, personally, as someone who's a little conspiratorial, is that they need some justification for the economic crash that's going to happen. It looks like, again, with the reshuffling of the debt, with the bond market being the way it is, with Americans having $2+ trillion in auto and credit card debt, we could be in for a really rough run of it. And the government is going to need an excuse to print some money. And that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried that Iran is their excuse.
Wouldn't in theory that put us in further debt? So it's...
But it's, you have to have something to, if you have rising inflation and rising unemployment, normally if you have rising unemployment, they lower the interest rates, and that makes people spend more money and makes more loans easier to get, so more businesses, blah blah blah, spend money.
So what you're basically saying is that we're going to go like through another Great Depression, essentially.
There's a lot of the same economic signals about debt, both personal and institutional, are very, very similar to 2008, and a lot of them look worse.
I was going to say, okay, yeah.
So it's a little terrifying, and I worry that Iran will be the excuse. We'll see. All I know is that I will be highly, highly dubious of any attacks by Iran or anything that they do as an excuse to get us into some war.
Put this on no, everyone watching the stream. Put this on no.
For real. But because every bullshit war we've been in, there was some bullshit attack that justified the bullshit war. Whether it was the Tonkin Gulf way back in Vietnam, whether it was weapons of Saddam being connected to Al Qaeda and weapons of mass destruction, there's always some big thing that happens. It's an excuse. So, a little scary. All right, let's move on. I got a couple things I wanted to chat about that are more general. I saw this video, was this on Instagram? So this was a couple weeks ago. India and Pakistan exchanged some fire. There was some violence over there. And this kid got interviewed on Indian TV, and I thought, did you see this one? Yeah. I thought it was just brilliant and a good reminder that kids are often smarter than adults because they haven't been programmed yet. Mm-hmm. So, there we go. Make sure we get started in the beginning of that. There we go.
पाकिस्तान को खत्म नहीं करना चाहिए, नहीं करना चाहिए। भारत देश जिंदाबाद है नहीं है, और पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद है नहीं है। आपका नाम, अपनी जगह पे सब जिंदाबाद। आपका नाम क्या होगा? तुम भी अपनी जगह पे जिंदाबाद। आपका नाम क्या होगा? कैफ। कैफ पूरा नाम? कैफ, मोहम्मद कैफ। कहाँ से हैं आप? मैं बिहार से हूँ। बिहार से। आपको थोड़ी सी भी शर्म नहीं आ रही कि भारत देश में रहने के बावजूद आप पाकिस्तान का समर्थन कर रहे हो कि कैसे खत्म होगा पाकिस्तान? अच्छा, आप ये न्यूज बना रहे हो तो आपको शर्म नहीं आ रही कि क्या न्यूज बना रहे हो? आपको शर्म नहीं आ रही है कि न्यूज बना के सबको फैला रहे हो हिंदू मुस्लिम के बारे में? हिंदुस्तान का समर्थन क्यों करना? आप पहले हमें जवाब दीजिए, उसके बाद हम कुछ बोलेंगे। तुम जो बोल रहे हो, वहाँ भी आदमी है, यहाँ भी आदमी है, वहाँ भी मुस्लिम है, वहाँ भी हिंदू है, यहाँ भी हिंदू है, सब तो है इंसान। तो क्यों सबको खत्म करना? पहले ये बताओ, क्यों करना? सबको जिंदगी जीने का हक है, सबको हक है। तो क्यों खत्म करना? आप पाकिस्तान का समर्थन करते हैं? कहीं आप जाओगे वहाँ, कहीं आपको खत्म कर दिया तो हो गया काम? आप पाकिस्तान का समर्थन करते हैं? हाँ करते हैं। तुम भारतीय नहीं हो, तुम भारतीय नहीं हो। भारतीय है। आप जो बोल रहे हो इस देश को खत्म करो, उस देश को खत्म करो, तो सब में तो इंसान ही रहते हैं। मेरे को छोटी सी चीज जाननी थी, ये आपको सिखाया किसने? दूर यार, सिखाया किसने? जाति मान है यार।
So I think that was so brilliant. The reporter is trying to drum up the same, again, India, Pakistan, America, it's all the same. The other guys are bad. We gotta bomb those people that are different from you. The reporter is trying to get the kid to say it's a good idea to destroy the country of Pakistan, which has like 200 million people in it or whatever. Yeah. And the kid makes a great point. There are people there. And this is something that, again, this kid's, what, 13 or something?
Which it stresses me out that his face is everywhere now.
Oh, really?
That was the first thing that I thought of, actually. I get really stressed out now with kids on the internet.
What do you mean?
It puts me in a tizzy. I feel like they're in danger immediately.
Also, I feel like it's always like children actors. That always goes wrong. Every time that happens, it goes wrong.
No, keep children out of adult spaces, please.
Yeah, no, I don't think any children should have that level of attention on them. I feel like that's not a great thing.
Zip it then.
I'm being serious. No, I'm being serious though. I feel like this.
I feel like kids should have attention.
Adult space. No.
Kid keeps talking.
This is an adult space. This is actually an adult space.
He's not on screen. It's just his voice. So
no,
that's
but I'm saying because like I don't think children YouTubers are not a great thing. I feel like everyone,
it's scary.
all of that stuff, because I don't think they should be like you said. I don't feel like they should be getting all that attention. And
obviously, kids need things, but like that's why Miss Rachel exists.
Yeah,
that's why Sesame Street exists.
Yeah.
There are things for kids that don't have to include kids, and if they do, sometimes like they're just. I know I'm really not a fan. It scares me.
I like this comment. Bless this child and protect him. Yes, bless this child and protect him. But this idea that the default is violence towards people that are different from you is fucked. That is mentally cooked, and that's something that I think at least half the adults around the world probably believe. Oh, well, those different people from us, they're dangerous. We should kill them and whatever. We should violence them in some way. And like, it's so stupid. Leave everyone the fuck alone. Everyone should leave you the fuck alone, and we'll all be happy. All right, a couple more little ones. I thought this was an interesting little nugget too from the gram. You got
1,000 English nouns dropped in usage by more than 80%. Between October 2023 and February 2024, the theory is whatever powers that be and AI, they are purposely making words disappear. It's functional vocabulary. And so some of the examples that they gave were terms connected to boundary setting, identity, and memory recall. And once a word falls below 2% of network visibility, it triggers the vanishing word protocol. Reclassify it, downrank it, replace it, not delete it, just less shown, less spoken, until one day you reach for a word like integrity and it's no longer in your mouth or your feed or in your memory.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, but what I found interesting was in the book 1984 by George Orwell, explored the concept of eliminating words through the invention of Newspeak, the official language of the totalitarian regime. Orwell's big idea was by eliminating words, you eliminate concepts. No words for freedom, then freedom itself becomes a foreign, even unthinkable idea.
Oh my.
So I wanted to share that.
Sorry. I just want to point something out real quickly.
What?
Can we talk about how he was talking about how AI is horrible while having an AI picture? I just want to...
Point made. Thank you.
They're just trying to make money, bro. They use AI.
Yeah, I mean, we can criticize the video all day. That stupid background noise makes me want to freaking punch somebody. Woo, creepy, spooky. The point, though, and it's the thing that I find the most scary right now, is because of technology and like Peter Thiel and Palantir and a lot of the people that are involved in the Trump administration in a lot of ways. Not new to Trump. This has been progressing this way before, but the ability to do this is greater than it's ever been, right? Like if you said if the 90s you're like, oh, they're gonna take away words, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Like you can't do that. Practically it'd be very difficult to do because people get information from so many different sources. And now most of our information comes from 4 or 5 platforms that are run by billionaires who generally have CIA contracts. So like they can actually do what they're talking about here. They can downvote words. They can move words that talk about individuality out of the vocab, responsibility, and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of scary.
Also,
read your books, kids.
Oh, so I was also going to say about how that's also not really kind of what she was also saying, how people don't really read books, which is also a very big knowledge of words. You gain a lot of knowledge from words. On top of, I feel like a lot of kids growing up, especially, like nowadays growing up, are using a lot of slang that doesn't fucking mean anything.
Yeah, but that's always been the case.
No, but I'm saying like
adding new words is not a problem. New ways of people talking is not the issue.
No, like slang that doesn't actually mean anything, like skibbity. The fuck does that mean?
Words didn't mean anything at one point. They just took a group of people to be like, all right.
No, what is skibbity though?
It doesn't fucking mean anything. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean anything.
It's onomatopoeia.
All right, next one I wanted to get to real quickly. I thought was kind of interesting too. What was this one?
Income household was one of those changes which went from being an option to an obligation. The principal beneficiaries were government, who had twice as many people to tax, okay? Property owners, because now you needed 2 salaries to buy a house. So the option of running a household on one salary basically disappeared. The unit of the household, the family, lost 35 hours of discretionary leisure every week, with no commensurate increase in living standards because the money got soaked up by property prices and by taxation. And that obviously what I'm not suggesting is that women remaining at home while men go out to work or anything like that. I'm simply saying that there are many, many things that start as an option and then they become an obligation. They become an imposition. I think that's a really interesting point, which is that.
So I just wanted to touch on that briefly because it's something we've talked about here a little bit before. That with the move, that a lot of the second wave feminism that brought many more women into the workplace in the 1960s and the 1970s was great for opening up that option for women to work. What would have happened if we weren't in a society run by banks and psychopaths is that now some men would stay home and some women would work and vice versa, and you'd still have one salary running the house, and that if 2 people worked, you would just be a really wealthy family that had plenty of money to go around. And instead what has happened is now almost every family has both parents working. And the consequences have been huge for this, right? When you think about the mental health for kids, well, when they're not being raised by their parents, that's definitely an additional challenge. I'm not saying it's always a bad thing, but on mass, I think it tends to be a negative thing. When you think about you said leisure time, that we've lost 35 hours a week of leisure time, of chill time, when you could go and do things and socialize and take it easy, was not there because we have to have both parents working just to pay the bills. And the people who benefited from this are the wealthy. As I've said it 1,000 times, I'll say it 1,000 times more. In 1971, since then, we've basically had flat buying power, flat income for workers. The average worker now makes no more than the average worker made in 1971, but productivity has skyrocketed since then. We make so much more with our factories and our AI and our computers and our robots and our sensors and all that stuff because of technology that we should all be working less hours. We should all have more leisure time. And instead, the result is this. I think I worry about some of this. The phone thing, I have that same concept with. Because he talks about something being an option and then being mandatory. And that's what's happened with these. The apps used to be a nice, I can get the app for going on my flight. Oh, it'll be easy. I'll be able to pick my seats and whatever. And it's becoming less of an option and more mandatory. And with things like Real ID...
Actually. A lot of things have been like requiring me to update my app or like download the app, but my freaking phone is I don't know. It doesn't want to go to something 16, iOS 16 or what the fuck ever. So I actually have had to delete a lot of apps, and now I'm just using their websites. Or I have to send it to my work phone because my work phone is naturally more updated because it's a work phone. It's not my phone. But yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, even like in my job, people would be complaining all the time, like, oh, why is it so many steps, or why do I have to download the app to activate this or do that? And I'm like, bro, like,
it drives me nuts.
Yeah. And then the only, like, we do have the option to do it for them, but it never makes it easy, and we have to get manager authorization to be able to do it.
Yeah.
In a low level job.
All right, we got a couple more little quick ones. We just got. I have one that I asked my daughter to send me something for us to react to, so we're gonna do that one next, and then I got a couple of fun ones, I think, and I think that's. We didn't talk about. Next week I want to get to this the President Trump's order about drug prices, because this is another really interesting one. I have to dig into it more. I'll give you the quick headline right here, but we're not going to get into it because I need to educate myself a little bit more on it. So Des, give me this real quick. So President Trump says basically wants to put an order out to say that we need to get most favored nation drug prices, because right now in our current system, basically American drug consumers, pharmaceutical consumers, pay the highest rates in the world. And he's saying basically, no, you need to take us down to the lowest rates in the world. Now, I don't. So there's like
question.
He claims between 50 and 90% cuts are coming for our drug prices. He tends to make fairly bold claims, so I'm assuming it's probably not going to be on the latter end of that. But I do want to look into this more, because if this is true, if this is actually going to have this result, this is a very progressive thing for a president to do. This would be something you'd expect an Obama or a Clinton to do, if based on the sort of typical. This is intervention in the market to benefit consumers and citizens, and hurt. This is going to directly hurt pharmaceutical profits. I'm waiting to see what more there is to it, and I'm gonna read some more about it. If anybody else out there has some extra resources, I do want to give this a proper talking about. But I like I said, I need to do a little more research. Des, you had a question?
Oh, I was gonna say, wouldn't that give? I thought it would be like lowering drug prices for the companies themselves to get. So because I was gonna say, if it's
it's based on what the rate. So Medicare, even though we don't have public insurance in this country, Medicare is like, between Medicare and Medicaid, I think we have about 100 million Americans basically getting government funded healthcare, and it's through that, I believe, is the way. They're not gonna. They're basically gonna say we're only paying the lowest rates. So we're gonna look into this more. We'll get into it a little bit more next week. So that is one piece of important news that we're gonna hold off of until I have a little bit more information on it. All right. So I would love to. This is I just got this shared with me. We're gonna live react to this because I haven't seen it yet. Stop being annoying. There we go. Sorry. Des, you got me my screen. Why? Fucking TikTok. All right, let me zoom in. Am I appropriately zoomed? There we go. We good? There we go.
They wouldn't dress the way they did at the gym.
Prepared me mad because I'm back with more purity culture comments that will.
Did you hear that?
Christian women only knew how hard it was for men to stay pure, they wouldn't dress the way they did at the gym.
If Christian women only knew how hard it was for men to stay pure, they wouldn't dress like that at the gym. Okay. So this is... I'm hoping she's going to give us a good reaction to that, because I think we have our own reactions.
Be mad because I'm back with more purity culture comments that will make you want to scream. I had a 70-year-old lady tell me that women are supposed to shave their arms or wear long sleeves because when men see your arm hair, it makes them think of your hair. I went to a Christian school and I was told at 14 that because I was a woman now, I could not wear the skirt that I had on because it was provoking to the male staff.
That's so crazy.
My friends and I were held hostage for 2 hours at a church where one of our youth volunteers tried to convince us that the worst thing that we could do was marry someone we found attractive. My whole family got shamed and shunned for 6 months because I held my then boyfriend's hand in a moment when he was anxious. I then had to get in front of the entire congregation and apologize for being inappropriate.
The sexualization is
My son went to a youth group where they pulled out all of the kids who had a boyfriend or a girlfriend and proceeded to bully them and tell them that they were sinners who needed to repent. They were 13. At my church,
Yeah,
we had a
creepy,
purity celebration
creepy.
where all of the young girls were made to dress in white and be given away by their
Creepy,
dads.
creepy, creepy,
we had to
creepy.
proclaim vows and swear purity before the church, and we were given rings like a true marriage. My ring fell off in the ocean, and all of the church women judged me. And it was funny because the youth boys did not have to do this. Keep commenting.
Wait, can you go back? There was one that like sparked a thought.
Kids, friend's hand in a moment. I could not wear the
All the way
skirt
beginning?
that I had on because it was provoking to the male.
That
staff.
one right
To
there.
the male
Now
Staff,
that she's a woman, she shouldn't wear that skirt because it's provoking to the male staff. Are you saying the younger, like, so the girls can but the women can't? Is that not weird? Does that not hit anyone else weird? Like they're.
I think the whole obsession with kids' sexuality
It's so gross.
is a little
It's
much.
creepy.
Like the purity ring thing. Again, you believe whatever you want in your religion, and I'm not judging anyone's religion.
I will say that when the Jonas Brothers took their purity rings off, I was absolutely devastated.
Have you seen the South Park about the purity ring thing?
I was just gonna mention that.
I think they fucking nailed it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's so you can sell sex without while pretending it's
talking
not
about
selling
it,
sex.
basically.
Yeah.
So like they have the shirtless Jonas Brothers, whatever, be like, no, we're pure.
Those poor little babies. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean all of the little babies, all of those Disney, they're all fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
They're all so fucked. Poor Demi Lovato.
All touched by
She
Dan,
was-
Dan Schneider.
Schneider. Yeah. Well, that was the Nickelodeon kids. The
he
Disney
was-
kids are fucked
But
up.
I'm sure that was limited hangout. I'm sure there's way worse things happening
God.
than fucking Dan Schneider. But the whole, I think there's two ways to frame this, and I think you can look at it from two angles. One is you should be careful about the type of attention you're attracting, right? Like you when you get dressed, you know what type of attention you are likely to attract. That's thing A. That is completely separate from thing B, which is you're not responsible for other people's behavior. No matter
not
what
at
you wear.
all.
If you go out naked wearing, and you write, I love to get banged on your body, it still doesn't give a single person the right to touch you.
I also think that there is this underrated form of art. Like how you dress and what you wear really is self-expression. And I feel like it's not up necessarily for others' interpretation. Like I think there also is this widespread idea that everyone needs an opinion.
That's fair. That's true. But so I would say if you dress provocatively, you shouldn't get mad if people look. So if someone looks at you, that's not saying someone gawks you or gawks at you or follows you or talks to you or anything, or certainly not touches you. So my take on this is that responsibility culture is the one that we should be pushing here.
Yeah.
That you need to there's no excuse, no matter what your excuse is, for violating someone's consent.
Well,
that's the bottom line.
I saw this video recently about how Kim Kardashian's trial is, it's happening, whatever. And
I don't know anything about this. Can you?
So
what's this trial?
it was like years ago. She was robbed in this Paris hotel, and at one point she was afraid that she would be SA'd because her robe fell open, and she was naked. There were 3 robbers, and none of them touched her. And there was a video of someone who was saying that's because when there isn't a rapist in the room, you will not get raped. You will not get sexually assaulted. Like if there is not a predator in the room, that's not a natural inclination. And then you saw the comments where a lot of guys, I guess, were like, oh, no way, none of them touched her. Like she's lying, blah, 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 because her robe was open. And I was like, okay, are you saying something? Like when you say that, do you hear what you're saying? Like there's no way I don't know. But I think it is huge. Like you said, responsibility and accountability. Like if there is no predator in the room, you're safe, and that's just it.
Did you see the artist who said let people touch her? So it said like you can do whatever you want to me.
What?
Oh yeah.
So this is hold on. See, I don't know if this is the one, but this might. Oh yeah. Give me this one, Des.
That makes me so uncomfortable.
I just did.
I would rather allow hundreds of people grope me than have one person touch me against my will. Yeah, we like sex, but there are rules, and if I don't want to be touched, you can't. Only when I say yes, now you can touch me. 100 people came to me to touch me during my performance. I used not only a breast cinema box, but also a vagina box. For me, it was important that I create a picture for a social reflection. The men and women who touch me, I said to them, you have to look into my eyes, and we only talk about how it feels. This mirror box is a symbol for freedom. She has a body, and it's her decision what she can do or not with this body. You have to respect women. It doesn't matter if in Germany or in other countries. Even a dog can learn to leave the sausage on the plate.
That's a great line. Even a dog can learn to leave the sausage on the plate. That's my takeaway, right? Like, raise your boys to fucking leave the sausage on the plate. I'm general. There are also female sexual predators out there as well. In very small numbers.
That just circles back to what we were saying earlier. Not all men, not all women. We fucking know. We know that there are.
We don't know, but I think it's good to be incendiary in your language.
No, I understand, but
so I think because I don't want the actually comments. I'm clearly yes.
I feel like it's just use your brain.
Sure.
People don't use your brain.
But that's not our culture. Our culture is not use your brain. Yeah. Our culture is let me find the first thing I don't like about what you said and then judge you and dismiss your perspective. So I don't want you to dismiss. You can judge me all you want. I don't give a fuck. But dismiss my perspective at your own peril, people.
I can't believe people. I mean, good for her. But oh my God, would absolutely never, first of all. Second of all, the fact that people actually did.
So it makes me so fucking uncomfortable.
Wait. Back to you saying not all men, not all women. There was women doing it as well.
Yeah, no, I know.
So I'm saying, it's not, like you said, not all men. It was a bunch of women doing it too. I just want to point that out.
But technically, she did consent. So she did say you could. What I find weird about it is
that people did it.
Yeah,
that you actually did it.
And touching your boobs and your vagina.
The vagina's crazy.
And that's sexual.
I couldn't.
I would
especially
never.
out in fucking public.
It goes back to our episode last week with fucking TSA.
Yes, it's
there
true.
are just a limited amount of times where I want to be touched down there.
No, there's and short of going to the doctor, there's one set of times you want to be touched down
honestly,
there. Isn't sexual whatever.
No, I hate the guy now so bad. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I just that thing was really weird because I just can't imagine wanting to touch someone's boobs non-sexually, if that makes sense. I don't want to.
Also,
there's no reason.
Yeah. I don't know. That's not cute. Am I supposed to be? With a bunch of people all standing around in the square in public,
and they're all watching you. Some people are into that stuff, but I'm like, oh.
I feel secondhand embarrassment after watching someone you in your own mind have to walk up and I'm gonna touch that woman's tits. That's just
it's
weird.
The vagina that got me.
That's even worse. That's worse.
Yeah, I would say as well.
There were people reaching down.
You have to be in your right mind. You in your right mind walk up there with 100+ people watching you do this and it's just weird. Why the fuck would you do that?
So
on that note,
the point of the video is consent.
No, exactly. Yeah, obviously. So, it's just the people are weird.
The people are weird, but you have to be heard or to be seen, you kind of got to do uncanny things, or you got to do it in an uncanny way. We're paying attention, we're talking about it,
right?
Because of that,
because of the intensity. That's a good point. That's a good point. And
if it wasn't as intense, people wouldn't listen.
That's very true. The original comment by the guy that she stitched in that video about Christian women need to know it's tough enough for Christian men at the gym and blah blah blah. Bro, don't go to the gym if you can't fucking handle yourself. It's really not that hard.
Crazy.
It's
and also stop demonizing yourself for your own fucking thoughts.
Yeah, true.
Be nicer to yourself, Christian men. Okay, you can have thoughts, just don't act on them. Same.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's end on a fun one. I got a fun one for us to end on. This is one of my favorite videos of the day. So this is a great example of why rather than going to work at McDonald's, you need to open your own burger stand or whatever your equivalent of that is, because this is what ownership looks like. Da-da-da. You good?
Oh, hi. They say you need to speak to a manager.
Oh my god, I love him.
What's happening?
Trying to understand why you all are so incompetent.
That's a wild place to start. Why don't we
The
start?
wild place to start is my lunch not being correct.
Okay, that's good. There are far worse things. What? Okay, so let me know. Tell me the lore of where we went wrong, because it feels like I feel like we were ruining your whole life. What happened? Let me know what happened.
Yeah, and I feel like you're just being like a smart aleck.
What are you doing? She's pulling out the phone. Oh, I love this song. Dude,
Yeah.
record me. What do you want me to say in your video? Is it gonna go viral? I can't wait. What should I say? No, we refuse to serve you corporate.
Yes.
This is ours. How's that?
Franchise.
Oh, franchise? This is ours.
Oh my god.
This is ours. I designed the logo.
I don't even know how you're in business.
Because it tastes good.
But you don't get the order.
Because
Right?
what did you get? How do we do it wrong?
I ordered cheese fries, not ranch fries.
So you got cheese and ranch?
No, I got no cheese.
What did the authorities say?
So I love that video. And again, this is why we need to own our shit. And it's why corporatization and the homogeny of all things, and quite frankly, big government in the same way, are all so dangerous, because you have a centralized power structure that can squash everybody else, whether it's Walmart or the federal government or Amazon or McDonald's. You have to answer to the big boss, which means bullies like Karen there can come in and bully you. Unless you're that guy and you own the business, you design a logo, and you can make fun of Karen and make a great video of it. So, just wanted to, again, give it a plug to anybody who's running their own business, and all of you out there who have the opportunity to go and give money to a business. Make it a small business. Don't go to fucking Chili's. It's gross. There's 1,000 restaurants closer to your house than Chili's that are better, that are run by somebody who's got a family and they got kids to feed. So don't go to Chili's, and if you can avoid going to Walmart and Amazon, I'd suggest that too.
Can I get some recommendations? Because I like their steak.
Chili's steak, bruh.
I just like
All
steak
right.
in general.
So we're gonna get
Probably
some.
not actual steak. I hope you know.
I was gonna say
It probably is
cockroach steak. We'll get some recommendations from people about better place to get steak. I'm not much of a meat eater, so I'd be a bad person to give you said recommendation. But I'm sure we can find some. And if you have a business in the area, we would love to feature you on here, give you some free advertising, and share your product with the world. Certainly with the local area of northern Massachusetts and southern New Hampshire. That's all we got for today, folks. Any last words from our lovely group of co-hosts and Engineer Des? I'm sure Engineer Des has been fucking bursting all day. He's got something to say about everything. Go ahead.
All right.
So you got 37 seconds.
Okay, perfect. For my previous segment, I want to say Apple is fuck Apple. I just want to say that.
Okay.
I don't like Apple. Apple boo. Don't buy the iPhone 17.
26, 25, 24.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
good.
done.
Thank you.
All right. Amberly's up. Amberly, what do you got?
Yeah, I will see you.
Oh, yeah. Amberly's
next
got
Sunday.
important stuff. Pay attention.
Yes, I will see you all next Sunday, the 31st or no, it's Saturday.
Saturday the 31st.
Saturday.
Sunday's the
Saturday
1st. Sunday's my birthday.
31st. Sunday's your birthday.
Sunday's my birthday, but Saturday
sorry.
is all your day. So tell us
Okay.
more about your day.
Saturday, the 31st, at the Academy for Creative Arts in Burlington, Massachusetts, I will be performing at the Mass Fashion Week finale show. So,
very exciting.
Starting at 6:30 p.m. The ticket links are in my bio, at Mass Fashion Week on Instagram, or you can go to massfashion.com, I believe it is. Let me verify that real quick.
Nope.
It is massfashionweek.com. Nope.
I can't fucking write words in the computer.
Yeah, massfashionweek.com. You'll be able to find it.
If you can type.
Saturday, May 31st, 6:30 p.m.
There you go. Give me that real quick. MassFashionWeek.com. It's a real thing. I can type.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, come see Amberly there. DZ, what do you got?
That's it.
No, that's it. You got nothing? Nothing. All right. So for me, we will be back next week. It'll be my birthday. We'll have a nice little show. There will be they got lots of exciting guest announcements for the summer, so keep an eye out. Please make sure you're following us, liking us, sharing our stuff, commenting. Tell me where I'm wrong. I mean, it's very unlikely you're going to find something I'm wrong about, but do your best. Would love to hear more from all you guys out there. Thank you so much for joining us on the Doing Better Show. We will see you next week. Bye, guys.